and salutations, everybody, and I am hoping that you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Nature Girl 30 here for another Andi Mack review of Snorpion, which is the most hilarious name I've ever seen. I'm actually picturing a snake and a scorpion, or a scorpion snoring. Other than that, I got some issues with this episode. I do. I'm sorry. I really do. If I actually did a top 10 list, this will be one of the worst. And here's my reason. I really do feel, and I think I have made this complaint before, that I really didn't like the fact they ended things so quickly, especially when it's part of the main plot, how they kind of ended it quickly and moved on to something else. But then sometimes they come around and they have the main plot, it's extended out where it's supposed to be, and then the subplot capped off. Now, Buffy's issue is, in my opinion, part of a main plot. It's probably a secondary main plot, not a subplot. Now, my biggest problem is that this is a huge issue that should not be capped off like that. But I think in the next episode they might mention it again. But the biggest problem that I do have is the support system of the friends. Now, Andi and Cyrus should be very close to Buffy and pretty much know her like the back of their hands. And anything that happens to her, I know that they will probably get really angry if something, if any kind of injustice happens to her. Now, in this case, I know they're not blind. I know they saw the fact that her team captain stole the ball from her. But Cyrus is being overly passive about this, which is bugging the crap out of me. Now, just because of the fact that he may or may not be bisexual does not mean that he's becoming a very odd character. I'm sorry. The fact that he's overly passive about his friend literally being misused and abused because of her gender should enrage people. I mean, for me, if I see my friends being treated like that because she's a girl or he's a guy, then I'm going to speak up. And it just seems like that his friends are overly passive about this. I'm like, don't you guys kind of... And I think that... And the one thing that really kind of made me mad about this episode was how Cyrus wanted her to be passive going towards the team captain, even though he saw for his own eyeballs that she stole the ball from him. I know he doesn't know much about sports, but there's no excuse. If you see somebody that has the ball and someone takes it from you, come on. I don't know that much about basketball, and even I know that's unfair. Seriously. I mean, you don't have to be a basketball fanatic to know exactly what is right and what is wrong about what your teammates have done. I'm sorry, you got to use common sense. And it seems to me that the guys on the show, except for Bowie, actually does have common sense. Bowie's the only one that has common sense. The guys are just idiots. I'm sorry. Jonah, especially Jonah. Don't get me started on Jonah. I've already griped about him in my last review. But for Cyrus, it's no excuse. He's one of the main three. He should know both of those girls like the back of his hand and at least be a little bit more supportive. He really hasn't been. It's like he's becoming the gay comic relief. You guys know him. Every single time there is a gay character on a TV show, they're either over the top flamboyant or just comic relief or the gay best friend sidekick. Please don't let him become that. Please let Cyrus have a little bit more depth. Because in this case, I don't see that happening. And it bugs the crap out of me. I'm like, you're saying it, I mean, you actually told your friend to not yell at the team captain after you found out that he literally stole the ball from her. Or the fact that he might just think, oh, it's just Buffy. Oh, the fact that Buffy's just competitive. The thing is, even if you know your friend's personality, you know when your friend's being mistreated. Nobody's that stupid. I'm sorry, no one is that stupid. Even if you have a friend that has a very over-the-top ego, you know when that ego is, and that's, you know when that ego is being checked, and you also know when that friend is being mistreated. I'm just saying. But for the main plot, I guess it's just between Amber and Andi. Now, of course, Andi, tries to be a friend because she overhears Amber on the phone and, what she's going through. And it seems like she is going through something. But the one thing that you guys got to understand is that she's an ex. She's an ex-girlfriend. You don't befriend an ex-girlfriend. You just don't. There's always rare occasions where ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends become friends with the current one. There's an occasion that happens. If that happens, that means there's no love there. There never was. There was no love, no emotion, no nothing between that couple. So it's not a big deal that that person breaks up with you because you never cared in the first place. But if you honestly have feelings to the point where you were freaking clingy towards this person, you're going to have emotions. You're going to have feelings. You're not going to be able to cut that off. I'm sorry. And the fact that Jonah obliviously is like, oh, be friends with her. She's going through a hard time. Come on. Come on. No guy is like that. No guy is like that. And with Amber, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. And of course, she made every excuse in the book. Like, oh yeah, I saw Jonah's. She probably did get angry over seeing Jonah's phone, calling Andi. But you gotta understand he's not yours anymore. But then that also should click for Andi on why that she was there in the first place. She didn't have to go through all of this ruse and trying to, pretend that she fell and everything, which was very clever. I will admit that was very clever. But the fact is, how come you just didn't tell Jonah? And then how come her friends didn't confirm it with her? I don't know. I just feel like they had a little bit of a comedic runaround instead of just being directly to it and just go to the problem and end it like flat out. Because honestly, there's really no purpose for Amber being there except for possibly causing a love triangle, which I would not be surprised if they do it. And Jonah somehow gets caught in the middle. I would not be surprised that Jonah actually still has feelings for Amber. That's why he's so nice to her. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has feelings for Andi too. And it's going to be to the point where he's going to have to choose at the very end. I would not be shocked who he chooses. I would not. Because to be honest, Andi and Jonah have not been a couple since they got together. They haven't. And I know that they showed this on Girl Meets World. And yes, I'm going to bring it up because let's be honest. Girl Meets World happens to be the successor of Andi Mack. Even though Lizzie McGuire was the actual original before Andi, since the producer of that show happens to be, actually did produce Lizzie McGuire. You can pretty much say that that's Lizzie McGuire's successor. Kind of. In a very direct way. But other than that, I really do feel they're doing the same exact thing they did on that show. And honestly, it's going to be to the point where Jonah's going to have to choose between one girl or the other. But it has to be, it's not going to be obvious. It's actually probably is going to be obvious. But other than that, it shouldn't be a triangle at all. It should be to the point where you understand it's X is an X and move on. There's really no purpose for Amber being in the plot except for being a bully. The same way that Kate Saunders was a bully in Lizzie McGuire. So I'm hoping that she just disappears soon. Because there's really no reason for her to be there anymore except for being a part of the love triangle. Now, the one positive that I can definitely say about the show is the relationship that's starting to build between Bex and Bowie. I really do like the fact they're starting to grow as parents and starting to learn how to be parents for the first time. Even though they're not married, they still are partners. And I like the fact they're starting to become partners and then get to know each other. And it seems like they really actually do have feelings for each other, but I wouldn't be surprised if somehow down the line that Bowie has moved on. I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm waiting for Bowie to have a girlfriend that he's going to introduce to Bex, and then Bex is going to have to accept that, and then the whole family dynamic will be frayed until next season. Because you have to have something going on for season 3, which is going to probably be the final one. I would not be surprised they're not going to go to season 4, because if they do... then they're going to pretty much renege on everything they've done for the past few years. I know that That's So Raven is pretty much the only one that actually did have a season 4, but I do not think they're going to extend it to season 4. I think they're going to stop it at 3. And that's what they do for all of their shows. And then they actually make another show and have 3 seasons of that show. So there's a possibility that with Andi Mack, they're going to stop at season 3. But other than that, they have to have something going on in season 3. So I will understand if Bowie has a girlfriend, and then Bex is going to have to understand that she is going to be a single mom for a while. And I think she's okay with that, but she's not going to have Bowie as a actual life partner. She's going to have Bowie as a partner. That possibility is going to be dashed until season 3. At least that's my overall theory of the whole thing. But other than that, I gotta say this episode was not great for me because there were huge major plot points that I feel was not being addressed. I don't feel there's a lot of chemistry with the main 3 because they're always separate. Now, I know Liz McGuire, they were separate sometimes. There were times that Miranda and Gordo did their own thing and Lizzie did her own thing and sometimes did her own thing with Kate, which is pretty much, in my opinion, what the Snorpion episode is. It's like Lizzie and Kate being together. And also, what instead of it being Lizzie and Kate, it's just Andi and Amber being together. But overall, I don't see that this is going to extend to a friendship. They're going to become frenemies. I would not be shocked, and that's pretty much what Lizzie and Kate became. They became frenemies. I'm not shocked this is going to happen, man. But other than that, it was just major plot points that were not being addressed. I don't feel like there was a lot of support with the main three, which should have been there, especially seeing what Buffy has gone through. I feel like Buffy's starting to become more ignored. She was, I mean, honestly, everybody kind of inserted their own, and from a lot of reviews that I've seen, I feel like people kind of inserted their own logic into what happened with that episode. But I really do feel like, in the context of things, that Buffy's character is starting to become ignored and overshadowed. And I'm also seeing that Cyrus is starting to become the gay best friend sidekick. I don't want that, man. There's a lot more to Cyrus than just being gay or being bi or potentially gay or bi or whatever you have it. It's more to him than that. And I'm hoping that they actually extend on that instead of just making him that trope. But then it also comes to the one thing that they have done right is with the adults, which kind of bothers me a little bit. I really do want a balance. I want the kids to have a good plot point that actually leads on to the next episode or extension to the next episode, or possibly cap it off there. But it seems like they're doing right with the parents and not really so much right with the kids. Other than that, I hope the next episode is going to be a fair balance, because it's going to be pretty much about Andi and Jonah not holding hands, even though I thought they did before. I don't know, maybe it's an episode I forgot, but she was like, should we be holding hands by now? Should it naturally happen? We've seen this before, guys. We saw this on Girl Meets World. This ain't anything new. And then it's going to be constant blocks of them holding their hands, and then finally at the very end, they hold their hands, unless it extends off to the next episode. But other than that, I don't know. I don't like this episode at all, but I do want to hear your thoughts on it. Leave in the comments below how you feel about Snorpion. Do you think it's a great episode? What do you think should have been done or should not have been done? I want to hear y'all's opinions on this. But other than that, guys, I will see you for the next review. Peace out. See you later.